Well, I started at Benedictine in as a teacher in 1970, so I've been there ever since. So I guess that gives me about 47 years that I've been teaching. I'm still, started out as a librarian, still a librarian at the school. I do drama yet. I'm still moderator of the ski club, and I still ski. A little slower than I used to ski, but I still ski with the kids and all that. So it seems like nothing basically has changed with regard to my affiliation with the school. Of course, I came in when just after my brother Don Piansky. He was the class of 55. He graduated. Unfortunately, he has just passed away last summer. And I followed him right after that in 56, graduated in 60. At that time, I made my decision to join the monastery. They sent us up to Minnesota for 2 years.
Hey, how you doing, guy?
I was told that it gets very cold up there, but it's a dry cold. I just want you to know that minus 32, dry or wet, is cold. I remember going out one time, I took a breath. I could barely continue to breathe, and I ran in and I said, I'll wait till springtime. So after 2 years there, I entered the monastery, got ordained in 69, and joined the faculty then right after ordination, and unfortunately, or fortunately, I've been a Benedictine ever since. Now, it's been a wonderful experience and all that, and I just thank God that He's given me enough health that I can continue to serve the Benediction.
Gerard, you can still speak. We'll have somebody else in there. You still want to speak?
No, somebody else wants to say something?
Okay, all right. Well, let's move it all around where we'll get it all in, give Father a chance to eat, and we're going to hear from our new classmates, plus the ones that came out of state. So I'd like to have the new ones stand that came out of state to introduce themselves. Please stand. All right.
Okay, Bobby, we'll begin right here.
You go first, sure.
Move over here. 1, 2, 3.
Come on out of here. You go. You talk to him.
Come on out here. That's great.
Here.
That's great.
Come on over here. Dennis, come on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Got this. Out of state.
All from the class of 58.
58, and we'll introduce yourselves after you get these pictures.
These guys are ancient. 1958?
Well, you have to remember one thing. We were the best class that Benedictine ever had.
Whoa.
All right. What I'd like you to do individually, tell us a little bit about yourselves, how far you traveled, where you came from,
Okay.
what you've done, what you're doing,
All right.
children, grandchildren, whatever comes to your mind, okay?
Good. I'm Dennis Franco. I live currently in Apopka, Florida, which we consider a suburb of Orlando. I've been down there 10 years, but this is the true home, right here. What am I doing now? I'm retired, of course. I was a financial advisor for about 10 years before I retired. My wife and I have 3 children. All 3 went to Ohio State. My daughter also went to med school there. We have 5 grandchildren and, and 2 great-granddaughters. They live in Columbus, and so we spent the first 4 days there in Columbus, and now we're working our way through 9 reunions here in the Cleveland area. You're next, Terry.
Very well, tough act to follow. I'm Terry Lyons, I'm from California, Corona del Mar, California. After I left all you guys from Benedictine, I went into the Air Force and spent 7 years there. I flew C-130 transports, and then afterward went to Western Airlines, became Delta Airlines, and retired there in 2001, right after the 9/11 debacle. And I live on the West Coast, of course, with my family. I've got 3 children, 2 grandchildren. My wife has a son of her own who lives up in Friday Harbor, and we're having a good life out there. Perfect weather all year long.
Chuck Miserandino, class of '58. I had CFO responsibilities for a group of companies under one management. Retired about 13 years ago. Have a wife, a daughter, and a son. The daughter has 4 sons. 2 are in college. What else do I say?
Where do you
Boring.
live? Where do you live now?
I live outside of Indianapolis in a suburb called Fishers, Indiana. We live in a Del Webb community, over 55.
Championship lawn bowler, though.
The wife, me, I came in 6th place. Her team beat my team. And this year she broke her wrist playing bocce, falling backwards.
I have mine at home, but Jim brought his with him.
He only wears it to church.
I thought it was the temple.
We're Jewish on weekdays.
You know, I said we have the best class from Benedictine, and of course, we're the first class to bring a state championship team to Benedictine. 1957 fall, our class of '58. We have 2 of those guys here that were on the team. Jim Kubinski, the youngest captain or co-captain of the football team ever. He was 12 years old. And Stan Zurich, who played for 5 years with the Cleveland Browns. And prior to the Lake Erie Monsters winning their championship, they were the last major championship, the year 1964 with Jimmy Brown. And of course, if it wasn't for Stan, Jim Brown would be nothing. And they're local. Jim is in Solon and Stan is in Broadview Heights. Joe is from Broadview Heights. John Lewis, who beat Tom Weiskopf regularly.
The highest point of the hill, so
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna mention that.
John is from Chagrin. Bill Preslock, another golfer on from our class, is from Westlake. Don Lennon is our doctor at Case Western Reserve doing stem cell research. Tommy Kukta from our basketball team, his brother Rich unfortunately is no longer with us, but they were one of the mainstays along with Gene Flanagan, who was here last night for the Stag Night. Alan Yakic, or right? No, did I pronounce that right, Alan? Alan can't hear too well, but but Alan is the mainstay. He's the glue for Benedictine. He's always here for all of our functions. So that's our class, and we're here in force. And we're expecting, I think, a couple more from our class before this is over.
Well, okay, well.
Anybody else from out of town? Out of state, I should say?
Top this.
We'll get
That's
new
it.
ones later, and we're gonna have Father Gerard say.
All right, to the moon. We're done.
Father, thank you.
Time marches on. So it was very nice last night. We have, every year, don't forget,
For Maslow's.
when we have that stag night, it's any class. It doesn't have to be, 5-year interval. So we had a nice group. The weather was nice last night, and this class of 66, they had about 50 guys there. And it was organized by a classmate out of town, Pat Emmerich, where does he live now?
In the Carolinas.
Carolinas or somewhere. And the previous year, the class of 65 had a big turnout, and that was organized by a guy from Las Vegas, Bob Toth. So it's funny, if people make the effort, they really can get things together. And tonight, you know, we invited that class of 66 here, but they have another event tonight at Maggiano's restaurant down by Beechwood. And they have a good turnout coming, for at least 40 guys, I think, coming tonight. And Father Clement was very big with their class, and Abbot Clement's 84, and he's still running around the place. He's chaplain down at the retreat house in Akron, so he's going to come and attend that supper tonight for them over at Beechwood Place. Just a few little updates. As you know, our magazine will be coming out in probably about 2 weeks. But if you didn't hear about it, Benedictine made history because we named our first woman principal. And we're the first all-boys Catholic school in Cleveland to have a woman principal, Mrs. Sue Zulant. She sounds like, you know, would a woman be able to handle an all-boys school? She had 7 sons come to Benedictine. Wow. 6 of whom graduated. So she's very tough. She knows how to handle boys. And our Father Michael went on a sick leave, and she had been his assistant principal. So we promoted her, and the faculty likes her very much. Then another historical thing for Benedictine is, you probably saw, we named a new head football coach, who's a graduate of St. Ignatius. And it's kind of interesting, as much as we have such a athletic reputation, we do not have any alumni in the area that are assistant coaches anywhere. So a lot of times you'll find an assistant coach that's a graduate, you know, and bring them back. But we really don't. We have some out-of-towners, but nobody in town. So I guess if you can't find somebody, you know, that was under Augie Basu, Chuck Kyle at Ignatius is a good mentor also. So Carter Wheelo, his mother, is the mayor of South Euclid. So he's already down there working with guys in the weight room and everything, getting things started. Just an interesting historical note. Our Father Placid is having his class's 80th reunion this month. It's the first time we've ever had somebody reach their 80th anniversary of graduation, and he's going to have perfect attendance at the reunion because he's the last one left in the class. But he's very sharp. I went to see him the day after Benedictine lost the state championship in December, and the first thing he said to me at age, he's going to be 98 this month, he said, they shouldn't have gone for the 2 points. So he's still very much on top of things. And if you remember, a year or so ago, I told you that man was doing the authorized biography of Chuck Knoll. That's the only authorized biography. There's 1 or 2 others that were out there. But this Michael McCambridge just emailed me that it's coming out in October. And he did a lot of research at Benedictine, and that one day, after looking through your books, I asked him, do you want to talk to one of Chuck Knoll's teachers? And he thought I was kidding him, because Chuck Knoll was 82 at the time. Well, I took him out to see Father Placid, and Father Placid, even though we had to yell the whole time because his hearing isn't good, he gave him a first-hand interview, and especially Father Placid was in the office when Ab Strohsnyder called the coach at Dayton to take Chuck Knoll after Notre Dame sent him home when he had his epileptic attack. And he was able to tell this author the exact phone call. He was in that office and heard it. Because if that coach wouldn't have accepted Chuck Knoll, he would have had to go back and work at his father's butcher shop, and the rest would have been history. But because they took him at Dayton, he had a chance to continue in football. So it'll be interesting. I hope Father Placid lives to see that book come out, because he's going to be quoted in it. But the guy couldn't believe that one of his teachers was still around to give that interview. And what else am I going to say? Our men's chorus, you know, people don't think about Benedictine and music. Though Father Timothy's put on, how many musicals have you put on at Benedictine?
About 65.
65 musicals at Benedictine. But our men's chorus now is very popular and growing, and they went to Ireland, Wales, and England in April. And they were able to perform at 2 Benedictine high schools, one in England and one in Ireland. There's only one Benedictine monastery and high school in Ireland, Glenstall Abbey, and they were able to visit that. And part of it was there's a very generous alumnus who every time they have one of these trips, he's writing a check for like $25,000 to help the chorus to go. They do a lot of their own fundraising, but this is an out-of-town alumnus who's he always appreciated the fine arts at Benedictine, and when he sees that they're looking, he always asks, tell me when they finish their fundraising, what's left that they need. And then he writes a check, and he doesn't like the publicity on it. So it's nice to see people stepping up to the plate and giving the students a chance like that. Our Mr. Benedictine this year is African-American boy, Micah Sanford, and we had the Mr. Benedictine dinner on Thursday night. We had about 17 former Mr. Benedictines come, and then each of them gets to stand up. We have it at the monastery, and they say a few words. And this boy got up and he said one of his goals, he made a checklist of things he wanted to do during his 4 years of high school, and one of them was he wanted to visit a foreign country. And he said, I was so lucky I joined the chorus because I got to go and fulfill one of these things that I always wanted to do. So Benedictine keeps improving. We're starting pre-engineering. That's a big thing now in a lot of schools. And Father Timothy is going to lose part of his library because they're going to take the back half. And it's funny how we had machine shop back in the 1940s, and then we got rid of it because it was like shameful. This was not a collegiate thing. Well, the pre-engineering programs all need machine shops now because they want to have kids construct things. And we had our brother Philip at the monastery had purchased a laser engraver, and that's going to be part of this. And our quarterback from last year, Brian Scheffler from here in Solon, he got into the entrepreneurship club at Benedictine, which is run by our basketball coach, Sterkula. And they got into competitions on businesses that you start. And Brian Scheffler put together a business plan using that engraver, making crosses and things out of wood to sell to people, called Monk's Corner. It was an idea that our brother Philip had started. And with that business plan, he went on in competition to come out second in the nation and won a $1,000 prize in this competition of students putting together business plan. And it was together with this pre-engineering program where they're learning how to cut and manufacture things. So those are just some of the new things at Benedictine. And watch for the magazine, should be coming out in a few months. And thank you everybody for coming. And if you want to go to Mass tomorrow morning, it's at 10:30 at the monastery. And then we have a little catered breakfast afterwards. So you're always welcome to come. We have to go. Okay, thank you.
Well, I am second in command right now. I'm in prior of the monastery. So what I say Good to see you guys. Okay. Good to see you. I'll try and make it again.
Ron Zivsak, class of 1960. Married, 4 children, 11 grandchildren. Worked for ADT Security System in the sales area and moved up to general manager and now retired. Retired for about 8 years now, and I'm tired of being retired. A quiz I'd like to throw to you guys. The state championship, 57. What player from the masculine team scored the only touchdown, I believe?
Yes.
What is his name? You got it.
Who is it?
Isn't it amazing? How do we remember those things?
I don't know why. Photographic.
All right, thank you, Ron. Jerry Grabowski?
Jerry Grabowski,
class of 66, so this is our 50th. My late brother Tim was a member of the 1960 class, and my son Justin graduated in 98. My son-in-law was defensive coordinator when he won back-to-back state championships in the middle of the 2000s. And after leaving Benedictine, Cleveland State, then went to work for Ernst & Ernst in New York City. Ultimately helped start 2 different insurance companies, and in between that, I was chief financial officer for the Cavaliers and the Coliseum. And then for the last 10 years, my son and I own Playmaker Sports Grill in Garfield Heights, which we have now closed. But I'm thrilled to be here, and wanted to come, particularly since my brother was a member of the class of 60. And you guys are behind this, so thank you.
Ernie Schmidt, class of 60. Retired, like everybody else that's here. My wife and I, her name is Mary Ann, live in Brecksville part-time, and I'm the furthest south in this group. I live in Naples in the winter, so I'm still a snowbird. Retired CPA, worked for Ernst, came out of school, or started school as a civil engineering major, rode subs for a tour, and when I came back they said, "You're going to be a Jewish engineer." I said, "What's that?" And they said, "CPA." So, career with industry, private practice. I still do tax practice work, but mostly retired. Thank you.
Dennis Franco, class of 58, the best class at Benedictine. Currently living in Apopka, but this is my real home. Followed in the footsteps of my older brother Clarence, class of 48, and my other brother Mike, class of 52. Now to Bob.
Okay, Bob, you're on, Bob.
Okay, Benedictine, class of 55. I went there because I wanted to be a mechanic, but they dropped the auto shop. Here I became senior. But I kept on, went to Max Haig. My career was 40 years in the bus trucking industry. I was a diesel engine refrigeration mechanic. Married to my beautiful wife Margie. Had 2 sons, 2 granddaughters. Of course, retired and all that sort of stuff. But my first, unfortunately, I had to say, it's my first Benedictine event. I regret not being more involved in Benedictine. Hope to change that from today on. So I may be asking for help because I am visually impaired. So that's about it. Thank you.
Where do you live, Bob?
Bedford Heights.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Tom Cookta, class of 58. I live in the area in Northfield. I've coached most of my life, and I've coached over here basketball at different times, and coached Nardonia's middle school, coached at the high school for the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and the one guy that's a friend that got me is I went up at the different grades with him was Ken Vihar, who coaches at Hiram College now. And 2 days ago on Wednesday, I was 38 twice. Thank you.
And Don, is Don your brother?
Don's my cousin. He was
Your
the
cousin.
mayor of Macedonia.
Right, oh, okay. All right, thanks, Tom.
I'm Don Lennon, class of 58. I live in Avon, and I'm married, have 3 daughters, all of whom live in the area. I'm still working for 1 more year and 12 days. I graduated with Terry from St. Tim's and Benedictine and John Carroll.
Right. Well, along with Don and Jim Fusick and Bernie Barnhart,
yeah.
we all of us went to St. Tim's and Benedictine and John Carroll. I live in Corona del Mar, California, along with my beautiful wife, Karen. She was one of the top 10 real estate agents in the country a few years back, so she did pretty well. And I worked as an airline pilot, retired, and just cruising along and enjoying life.
Hi, I'm Joe Clucho, class of 59. I live in Parma right now. I graduated from Cleveland State University with a BBA in accounting. Worked 37 years for the Postal Service. My last job was 13 years postmaster at Chardon, Ohio. I've got 3 children, 5 grandchildren. One's with the government, but I can't tell you where he works. She's not allowed. Interesting thing, because I took him around. I volunteered at the Cleveland Clinic. For 10 years I've been there. And I took him around at the Cleveland Clinic when he was in town. I introduced him and said where he worked, and he says, "Don't tell anybody where I work." So, okay. So anyway, that's. I've got a granddaughter. She just graduated from Toledo University. She's going to go 3 more years and become a physical therapist. You have to have a doctorate in how to be a physical therapist. I'm real big into Slovak heritage. In fact, Joe Hornak, who was big in Slovak heritage, just passed away, and he was a graduate of Benedictine. He kept telling me to come here. Well, I didn't come. He passed away. Now I'm here. I guess I'm replacing him.
Good. Great
just
you're here.
One last thing about Slovak heritage.
Is this a long story, Joe?
No, real quick.
Already getting weak.
Adam Plutko is a pitcher. He just got promoted from the Akron Rubber Ducks to the Columbus Clippers. He's got Slovak heritage. So I write to 81 people in the emails, tell them what's happening with the Slovak people. Good. So,
Thanks, Joe.
sure.
Chuck Mizernino, class of 58, graduated from Finn College, Indiana Wesleyan, graduate degree, CPA. Have a wife, Dolores, who went to school with Denny's wife, Linda, at Hoban, his former school. Have a son, a daughter. Daughter has 4 sons. Retired CFO responsibilities. Under me were about 6 companies in one group. 6 closings every month. That was a lot of fun. I call myself DB, a displaced Buckeye. I'll never get used to where I live in Indiana, I'm Hoosier. That's about it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is John Lewis, class of 58. Went to John Carroll, married, 4 adult children, 7 grandchildren. Still work selling packaging materials and spent some time doing volunteer work.
Thanks, Jen. Gentlemen, you too, Hudeko. Good to see you guys here.
I don't